Tonight's on deck with Evil Dead Chick. What's in store when you open the door? Step inside, my little ones. Bring your flashlight and good luck charms. Oh, and good luck charms. Oh, might get dark. It might get scary. Maybe even a little insane. Crawl out from under the bed. Don't be afraid. Evil Dead Chick is here to entertain and thrill. Tonight's on deck with Evil Dead Chick. Let's hang out till the sun comes up.
Let's go! Yep.
Howdy, gang. Doesn't look like I have anybody in here, but I'm still here to do another edition of Dick's Picks. People are welcome to watch this on the replay or come in here in the middle of it or whatever you would like to do. I may not have a soul in here tonight, and that's okay. I'm just going to quit stressing about it and get on here and do my thing. And if people watch, they watch. If they don't, they don't. But if you do come in here and hear me say this, great. If you see it on the replay, great. I'm going to be offering you guys and gals another opportunity to support the channel and also get something out of it. So where before I was doing the thing where if you gave a $5 super chat or more during a live stream, I was allowing people to pick watch along films. Well, now that we're doing the watch along films by poll, I had another idea. If you give a $5 super chat or more during one of my live streams that includes watch alongs, you can ask me to review any movie of your choosing. And I have to do it. If you pay this money, I have to do it. So it could be a movie that you know I'm going to absolutely hate, and you can still get me to do it. Now, I know that people that can't even give $5, I know they may be thinking, well, geez, Dana, how can I, get in on this? Well, we're doing the watch alongs. That's by poll. So I'm not asking you for any money for that. I'm just offering another opportunity for people that can. Like I said, there are many, many ways that you guys and gals can support the channel. It doesn't have to be all financial. And I'm not making a living off this channel. I'll be totally honest. I just got a $125 check from YouTube, or a direct deposit, rather. It's not really a check, recently. But I don't get those checks it's 6 months to a year before I'll probably see another check. So I am not making a living off of this. And I only get my money when I reach $100 threshold. And that comes from super chats, and that comes from memberships, all of that good stuff. Or if people just want to, just give a super sticker or whatever with money attached to it. That is how I make my money. I have not reached the 1,000 subscribers just yet. I've still got a few more subscribers to get before I can get ad revenue. So if you've been on the fence about joining, we got lots of new programming coming up. It's not all about me here. So if you want to, be in the know and get notified about all this new programming that's going to be coming up, and watch alongs and movie munchies and all that good stuff, I urge you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know what I've got coming up next. And also, likes help. So every video or stream or whatever that you like, that helps out too. So tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we've got another cannon fodder coming up. I'm going to be talking about another couple of Golden Globus era Cannon films. We're beginning to get into the era, the years like the 80s, where I'm really familiar with many of the films that were put out by Cannon. Not all of them, but many of them. So be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where I'll be having another Cannon Fodder episode. Thursday will be the second episode of They're All Messed Up. And I'm going to be talking about another couple of films and talking about these fantastic, or maybe not so fantastic, kills in each one of the films. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started with these movies. Now, the first movie is Playgirl 70. It's from 1969. There is a version of this on YouTube. However, word of warning, there are no proper English subtitles. And I even had Steve look for a copy that was either one dubbed or had proper English subtitles instead of that auto-generated crap that YouTube has for some of the movies, which makes no sense. It's just like run-on sentence, and some of the stuff doesn't make sense, and you kind of just got to make your way through it. Steve, unfortunately, was not able to find. He found an HD copy, but it didn't have any English subtitles. So if you're looking for that, you're probably not going to find it, because Steve's usually really good about finding things, that everybody else necessarily can't find. So I did watch it, and I did get the gist of it. And there is a plot synopsis for it on Internet Movie Database. So I'll be able to talk coherently about it, more coherently than those dang subtitles. But basically, the movie concerns a model named Jane who is looking for love in all the wrong places, basically. I think she probably would have had a pretty decent romance with the photographer guy she meets, but she's evidently head over heels in love with her actor boyfriend, who says he wants to marry her and all this stuff, but unfortunately gets into a life of debauchery at the hands of these people in films. It kind of goes back to the Hollywood thing over the years that people have talked about. Sadly, a lot of young people have gotten involved with it. Not only drugs and other forms of excess, but sexual abuse and stuff like that. And this kind of, in a nutshell, kind of showed those things, because Alan, the actor boyfriend that Jane's so in love with, ends up going on a cruise with a bunch of these movie people. And it's just, it's sex and excess. And he's forced into, or he tells Jane, he is forced into making love with a woman who's, as he says in these very odd subtitles, almost an old lady. And he says, though, he tells Jane at one point, he says, when this film is over with, then I'll make two more films. I'll stay married to this woman that I don't even love, but I'm using her to further my career. But I'm in love with you, Jane. He basically keeps telling her. And he says at the end of that 2 years, after he's done two more films, he will marry Jane. He will divorce this lady and marry Jane. But by that point in the film, Jane is completely disillusioned with Alan. And she unfortunately rebuffed the photographer near the beginning of the film, because I think the photographer really cared for her. He was going to make love to her, and she was like, no, I got to go find Alan. I got to go find him. So she leaves Alan, and she's out on the beach, and she meets up with the photographer again. And he's like, look, Jane, why don't we go off together? Why don't we go off to Rome? I've got this job, and, I will take care of you and all this stuff. And so the ending is kind of ambiguous to this film. It's not really a shocking ending or anything like that. But my dogs are having a fit. Hold on one second, folks. Apologies for anybody that's watching, but so is the life of having 5 dogs. So, but hold on, I am so sorry. Bobby, be quiet. Stop. I'm so sorry, folks. I should have took myself out of the stream rather than have y'all hear me begging the dogs to be quiet. But Steve is already asleep, or he's laying down, and I don't want the dogs to bother him. I don't know what in the world they were carrying on about. But and so anyway, as I was saying, the ending is sort of ambiguous, with the photographer basically begging Jane, come on, come to Rome. And Jane just, it kind of zooms in on Jane and then zooms back out. And Jane just has a blank look on her face, and she's standing like at the end of a pier. And, the photographer's like, come on, Jane, come on, let's go. We have to go. And she does nothing. She doesn't say anything to him. She's just staring blankly. And that's how the movie ends. I would have liked to have had a little more of an ending to it. And the film itself was just, it was just okay. It's I definitely don't see myself going back and watching this. It wasn't really a fun movie. It was sort of, depressing, if you want to know the truth about it. Um, so I can't give it a very high rating, and I'm not going to. So what I am going to give it is, at best, 2 deadites to 2.5 deadites out of 5. That's all I can give Playgirl 70. I'm sorry. If anybody is able to find a copy that's either dubbed or has proper English subtitles, I'd love to know about it. I'd love to know where you got it. Maybe I would like it better if I could watch it that way. But as it stands, that's all I can give it. All right, so the next movie, The Mad Butcher. I had fun with this one. This one was a little more on par with what I like. I thought it was going to be more of a horror movie, something called The Mad Butcher. You would think that it would be primarily a horror movie, but this movie was a little more comedic than I was expecting it to be. You know, uh, this one came out in 1971. It's rated R, but honestly, there's very little blood or gore or anything unless you count the butcher chopping up animal meat, to be gory. But we start out and uh, Otto, the head butcher, is in a mental hospital, but he's getting released. His wife basically put him in there to keep him from going to jail. And they keep talking about him giving 2 pounds of liver to this old lady, and that's how he ended up in the mental hospital. But his wife is a real bitch. She's real naggy and stuff. And when he gets out of the mental hospital, he wants to go back to his butcher shop, and he says he wants to start serving customers. Well, there's another reason that he wants to stay at the butcher shop all day and all night. There is a woman across the way that he sees in shadow taking her clothes off every night. Well, his wife catches him, and she's none too thrilled about that. And she just keeps berating him and berating him and berating him. And she angers him so much that he ends up strangling her and breaking her neck. Then he thinks, oh my God, what have I done? They're going to send me back to the mental hospital, or they're going to send me to prison if I don't get rid of this body. So what does he do? He basically chops up his wife and he grinds her up into meat and he makes sausages out of her. And sells said sausages to the people around town. But his brother-in-law, who helps him out in the butcher shop, gets suspicious when his sister doesn't, return. Otto says, I don't know where she is. So his brother-in-law ends up bringing, I guess she's a prostitute. Has a boyfriend, but she's a prostitute because she sleeps with men for money. And Otto acts like he's just, disgusted, repulsed, and he runs his brother-in-law off, and then he acts like he's going to make the prostitute leave, and instead he holds her captive and then ends up killing her. And once again, grinding her up in his meat grinder and making sausages out of her. And again, selling the sausages to one person in particular, a cop played by Dick Randall, the producer of this movie. And so we go on and on and on. And the only thing that I didn't like about this movie was the stupid romance montage between a reporter and the lady that gets naked every night and in shadow is, taking their clothes off and guys are watching her. That I could have done without. I think it was stupid and silly and frivolous and not needed at all. But I guess they had to have her have a love interest so that when she disappeared, he would be, where is she at? And there was this grand reveal. And poor Otto ends up in his own meat grinder getting ground up. And he didn't get to the last lady. He was keeping her in a trunk or something tied up and gagged. And the reporter finds her. And she's all safe and stuff like that. But other than the stupid romance montage. I had fun with the movie. I thought it was funny. A lot of black humor in it. Not something that you should really take seriously. Um, and I could definitely see myself going back and rewatching The Mad Butcher. Um, I might fast forward through the silly romance montage, but other than that, um, I'd give this one probably 3.5 deadites out of 5. Because I enjoyed it a lot more. I was able to stay awake through it. I actually watched it first before I watched Playgirl 70 because I knew I was going to have to muddle through those auto generated subtitles. And so um, I guess that is it for this edition of Dick's Picks. And again, I talked about Playgirl 70 and The Mad Butcher. Playgirl 70 is from 1969, and The Mad Butcher is from 1971. The next couple of movies, I'll give y'all a little heads up here about the next couple that I should be covering. Will be Four Times That Night from 1971 and The Devil's Lover from 1972. We're shortly going to be getting into like the Bruceploitation movies, those martial arts films. We're going to be getting into things like Pieces and Slaughter High and stuff like that. People might be a little more interested in those than they have been some of these early ones. And again, I will be having another cannon fodder tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I can probably tell you what I'm going to be covering. It's like I said, we're getting to the 80s part of the Golden Globus era of Canon Films, and I'm going to be covering The Godsend from January of 1980 and Hot T-Shirts from March of 1980. And then after that, we're going to be getting into things like Schizoid and The Happy Hooker Goes Hollywood and all that good stuff. So that is it for me. I hope you will continue to tune in. I'm going to be here anyway, even if nobody tunes in. But you can always watch them on the replay. I know people are busy with different things. But I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday night, folks. And I'll see everybody next time.